All right, this is an educational video for my normal YouTube viewers, the people that watch. So it seems like humanity's kind of perched on the edge of a cliff, and there's some really bad things going on. It's evolution in action. It's very tribal. I ran into a conversation recently here, and I kind of fed it a little bit because I'm down with a chest cold. I'm not really prepared to do anything, and I thought, it's very important to continue to talk about people like this. You gotta understand where they're coming from. They're simple. They are actually, I'm gonna just say they fit the category of stupid. When it comes to the average brain, these are the many called. They're not the few chosen when it comes to Christians. They're really, I've talked before about the grunts of the group whose job it is to just the baby engine. We hunt, we forage, we screw everything that is male, female, or animal product, and anything that comes in that looks like it doesn't belong, we just freak out and attack it. Okay, that's that brain type right there, and that's the largest amount of brain types. So they're going to be running the thing. Well, they're going to be causing stuff to happen, but they're going to be directed by evil that has more intelligence. These grunts are just going to do the bidding. What we have here is pre-programming. I'm going to read through the guy's comments, and what we're going to look at here is what you're going to see right off the bat is that this individual walks around pre-demonizing anybody else. This is a perfect example of that grunt brain type that hunts, forages, fucks, and kills. I'm going to suggest another place where we can see this anytime you hear Christians teaching that God exists because we have objective morality. When I hear somebody say objective morality proves God exists, I'm going to tell you I see somebody right there that is afraid of God, and that's the only reason they're not molesting their own children or their neighbor kids. If you think you know right from wrong because of God, then you were born as one of those grunt brain types that wants to screw everything, and you've been taught that that's not okay. So there you go. All right, let's read this guy's comments. It's on a channel where Hitchens is talking, the great Hitchens. He says, evolution is defeated. Of course, right off the bat, that's an open statement. What he's done is he's come in there to look to practice. I guess you kind of say he's thrown his hook out there. He's trying to get somebody to bite off on that, and he's going to start going through a program. And we can spot that right off the bat. Let's go see that program. Somebody responded to him. Says who? What has he got? He's got a standard statement here. When did you see some evolution? Right off the bat, the guy's a ding-dong. Some evolution. When did you see evolution is what it should be. We are all waiting with bated breath. Yeah, bated breath. Okay, so this is an older guy because he's using that term bated breath. I responded to him. First of all, I'm going to tell you right up front, you don't go where these guys are going. You don't address evolution. You know evolution is there. In fact, the biggest indicator of evolution is Abrahamic religions in themselves. Christians, that means you. You don't know that you're from Abraham because it's something you don't even know what the Bible says anymore. You don't know what Jesus says. You're idol worshipers, okay? You basically are. What you do, however, feel like you're number one and you're chosen. That's how life works. That's how evolution works. Everybody thinks they're right, no matter how wrong they are. For life to work, you better try every damn thing. Something's got to work somewhere. If you only try one thing, you're probably not going to make it. So everybody tries something different, and every damn buddy thinks they're right, despite the fact that the vast majority of them are way wrong. Okay, we need to know that. If you understand that, you got to step back, and you're dealing with a group that cannot manage that thought process. They will just lash out and kill. They can't do anything else. They're not. Evolution is a problem. Okay, so they've already just pre-denied all of that, and they're not evolutionists. To me, I look at that and go, here's somebody that is coming, that that they're standing on a religious foundation of some sort of claims, but they're not going to make those claims. What they do is they simply come in and say something doesn't happen, show me proof, show me proof, show me proof. Instantly, it sounds like Pee Wee Herman. I know you are, but what am I? 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 And you're like, what a fucking ding-dong. Holy shit. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and read on some more here. All right, I want to be careful I don't overdo this, and it's really not an attack against this person. It's an education showing that there are billions like this out there. You need to know who these are and how they work and how to avoid them. So I'll go and tangle with them, and it's okay. I know what I'm doing. I know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what I'm doing. So you got the edge. When you're watching them from above, yeah, they're just like little ants down there. And my response was, we see evolution. We don't see anything resembling supernatural. Start where your claims are. You aren't a scientist, so you don't know science. Apparently, you don't know anything. This is me trying to force him to establish a foundation. Who the fuck are you? You got no qualifications. You stand on sand, buddy. You have to understand there's some psychology in that, though. What you're constantly doing is pinning them to a point. You're not letting them steer the boat. You don't go where they're trying to tell you to go. You're pinning them where you think they're coming from and establishing, is that really there? Who the hell are you? And I also sometimes I'll throw things in like I commented to the other guy that was commenting to him to kind of buddy up. His fear rules his thoughts. Of course, that's a standard thing. Everybody's fear is the basic core that drives humanity. So that's not a false statement. Fear rules all of our thoughts. If we're not feeling fear, we're good. But if we start feeling fear, it's because things aren't going okay. And that's going to rule us. We don't want fear. We want to feel okay. So, you know what? You really have to mentally reason through that on your own. You're not sitting there feeling fear. So you think, I don't know. I don't quite get that. But what we're doing is constantly making decisions to bring us to a place where we don't feel that fear. So the fact that the fear is there, we know it's there. That's what drives us for success. That's what drives us forward. If we aren't driving for what is good, then we are feeling what is bad. So there's this give and pull that we have to understand. We're in the midst of that flow. It's just really that simple. Fear drives me too, even though I'm not feeling fear right now. But I've done the things to prevent that. I've learned in life what causes me fear and how to circumvent that. Now my fear is for humanity because I can't circumvent that. That's not a false statement. It's a statement that's made that everybody does. Everybody's fear rules their thoughts. But it's a good one to get the other person going sometimes. He replied back, when did you see some evolution? We are all waiting with bated breath. So then he repeats the thing. Then it says, you sound like you are in a cult. Are you also saying no to Halloween? Okay. So you got this fallacy thing going on right here. And you know that somebody's education has been sitting there on his couch watching Fox television. And that's exactly what they think of everybody that isn't them. You must be something that was on this news article. What the fuck he's talking about Halloween? And a cult. What the hell? I'm asking him what? To show me God. So what happens here is he's just throwing that this is something coming from him. It's not from me. It's not from the conversation. This right here is an indicator of where his brain divisions are. This is actually the true teaching of we're known by our fruits. When you understand cause and effect and you see something like this happening and it's coming from out of the blue, you know that it's coming from that individual right there. That is what the individual is bringing to the table. We are known by our fruits. Whatever he says is bullshit. What just happened right there? What just emerged out of nowhere? It came from somewhere. It came from him. That keeps me safe. That's an evolutionary process that is now in place still, and it's still going to do the same thing. Then he said, are you saying you have never seen any evolution? Oh, are you saying you have never seen any evolution? Nothing. Fallacy. And yet you believe? I don't know what he's even talking about there. That's just the most basic. It's like, man, I wonder if the guy's doing crack. Are you also saying no to whites first thinking? So, yeah, right there. What do you figure? Maybe he's a white supremacist or something? I don't know. Whites first thinking? Yeah, buddy, see, this is all him. This has nothing to do with the conversation. I asked him to show God. This is his only program. This is what you're going to run into. You start seeing people throw shit at you that are like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And the reason they're doing that is because they've been set down and told that that's what it is. And their brain type cannot figure out anything different. They don't figure out on their own. They do what they're told. They're not capable of processing. The response went back to him. What the fuck? That went off the rails there. I kept on course. So notice supernatural then. Why the fear? And then why act like a 2-year-old? What does he come back with? When did you see some evolution? We are all waiting with bated breath. So we see the program. Is this a no to Halloween? Are you in a cult? You repeat. Yeah, anyway. So, all right. So the important thing to understand here is what? The takeaway is that this is that brain type in action today. When I talk about how we evolved in groups and that this was a very necessary brain type to help us survive, there's so many dangers coming in, and that when you weren't sure if something coming into the group of, it's hard. Life is freaking hard. The big group is the baby engine, the children, hunters and foragers, this massive group. There's alpha males, females. people on the outside, the introverts that are highly sensitive, keeping an eye on things, and that's exactly how we evolved. Now today, that those same brain types are in action, but it's not recognized. And in fact, the very evolutionary processes that got us here are denied by the people who are the ones acting out. It's very tribal. When you look at religion, you understand how the tribal nature of it is. If you step outside of it, my God would bless the world. If your God blesses your country, you got a small God. I don't know what the hell to say, but people think it's the biggest one. Why? It's evolutionary. I'm number one. That's just the way it works. You're not going to circumvent that. When you see people like this, you're up against somebody that is too stupid, that can't process, and really only just has you demonized over things that have nothing to even do with you. You got to know that. All right, so this video, again, it's not about that individual, because this individual is a dime a dozen. We've all run into it. The thing is to understand the mechanism behind it and the purpose and why to not engage with it. I will, again, because I know instantly when I see something like that, I know somebody just threw it in the water and they're going to go into that repeat mode. That is incredibly common. And it's there for that very reason. It's an evolutionary process. Think about not having abortion, for example, and saying that nobody should have abortion. But think of children that are being born where sex is going to happen because it's a natural thing. It's not going to stop. Children are going to be born because that's evolution. And they're going to be born into places where there's no opportunity, or maybe there's opportunity. People can argue somebody made it out, but they're ignoring the thousands of people in inner city gangs and drugs and homeless and things that happen that we produce. That same group that wants those children born will turn right around and take those same children and put them in jail, will penalize them, will sentence them to death, deny social services. That it's like, if you can't make it on your own, then you're going to die. You should not get to be there. That's a mechanism that can only be explained through an evolutionary survival of, we want to produce as much as possible, and whatever survives, survives. And if you don't survive, you don't. And if you don't make it, you don't make it. We're really not thinking what's really going on. But millions of years ago, that's exactly the mechanism that got us to emerge. But having studied all aspects of it, I simply try to engage them at their source and find out that they don't have one. Their purpose really is to come and it's just attack what is known. They bring nothing else to the table. Attack what is known and deny it and keep people, like off on your heels. What they're doing is practicing attacking things. That's what they're wired to do. He's doing exactly what his brain type is for. Yeah, attack something I don't like. All right. So you just got to step out of it. You got to know it. It's aggravating. You can't stop it. And despite any thoughts otherwise, you will never, ever reason with that mind. Never. It can't be done. The mind does not have reasoning capacity. In editing, I decided to add this in. The mind does have programming capacity. It is designed to be more of an organic automaton in the group. It programs into the group. It fits right into the group. And that is, that's it right there. So it has that skill. It doesn't have the higher cognitive skill. In fact, you can tell in that conversation how automated that was. It wasn't even a conversation. It's a program running. Anyway, I should wrap it up. Okay. I didn't have anything planned, and this is getting more and more prevalent. You see it all over. You recognize exactly what it is. It is a very routine pattern. If you're good at spotting patterns, you will spot this pattern. And you can spot it not just in religious areas, but in all like science denial sort of things. The flat earth, the Egyptians could never have built the pyramids, all of that kind of stuff. You'll find that same kind of things going on, that people that just, they don't explain anything. They just throw a cant at you and say, we're done. Anyway, okay, just know that there are brain types all over the place that might have different beliefs on the surface, but are still functioning in the background in the same way. And you can see that. So at some point, they think they're different from each other because they have a different belief, but you look at them and say, you guys are thinking the same way. You accredit it to something different, but you both have this, I'm going to put the cart before the horse mindset. You just deny what the easy, obvious things are and go for something that is that can't be explained, or that just becomes far-fetched. Humans, for some reason, struggle with reality. It seems to me that they prefer fantasy. They prefer something different, and people that are talking about reality will do so politely. People that are talking about fantasy will get pissed off and angry and start screaming and yelling at you, and you're like, my God, what the hell? It's tribal. It's tribal brains. Anyway, all right. Well, I just wanted to say that here and, demonstrate that that's still there, and talk about it a little bit more in light of a couple of recent videos I've done where this is an evolutionary process. There you go, right there. There's one of those brain types in action. All right. See you in the next video.